Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning on this absolutely glorious sort of summer, autumn day we have here on the Gold Coast. Wherever you are, I hope you're enjoying Saturday or even Friday night, Friday evening. The weather here on the Gold Coast is certainly throwing on the absolute charm at the moment, sending all our Commonwealth Games athletes home with some great memories, I think, because it's just absolutely superb. And if you are on my personal Facebook page, you will see I took some incredible photos this morning. I just had to stop in the middle of my walk and take them. They're just absolutely beautiful. So if you're here this morning, say hi as we go along. Morning, Helen. Morning. It is just a glorious morning this morning. And as I said, if you're friends with me on Facebook, I just this morning, the sunrise this morning was spectacular. It's one of those times you want to kind of just freeze life, you know. I just love this time of the year. So beautiful. We haven't yet turned summer off, but we're looking forward to today, to the weekend, catching up with some of the Commonwealth Games. So the closing ceremonies on tomorrow, and it's been a wonderful time, I know, for many athletes and the volunteers. We managed to get to the, what did we get to yesterday? The rhythmic gymnastics. It's really great, and especially seeing as we got a Canadian girl won the baton part, and so I've actually posted on Instagram yesterday. I had a little vision of her receiving her gold and singing "O Canada," which always brings a tear to my eye. For those who don't know, my husband's Canadian, and our 3 children live in Canada, so a little bit teary. Anyway, she responded, which was lovely. She just thanked me for the nice, kind words. So isn't that lovely? Through Instagram, social media, we can keep up with everybody. Okay. Good morning, and hello to those who are joining us from other parts of the world. It's a very early. You watched that? Yeah, I was. Yeah, thanks, Finn. It was lovely that she responded. And I was a little tear in my eye. I love that. Oh, Canada. And it's funny because Australians have won so much gold. Morning, Karen. Hello from Darwin. Wow. Welcome from Darwin. How lovely to have you here. Oh gosh, I guess it must be quite warm still up there as well in Darwin. We're actually expecting high 30s here, or not high 30s, I shouldn't say, high 20s, 30 degrees here on the coast today, over the next couple of days. So lovely. But yes, we're listening to some people from England saying, if I have to hear that song one more time, I'll Spans Australia Fair. I think every other athlete knows the words of that song at the moment. Australia's done quite well in the Commonwealth Games. All right, let's get on to what we're going to be talking about today. And this is a particularly favourite subject of mine, and it's come up a little bit in my coaching this week with coaching clients, and that is recognising the difference between actual limitations that come up in life and those that are self-imposed. Now, for instance, as I mentioned in the blurb leading up to this, when I was younger, I would like to have been a 6 foot tall supermodel. The fact that I'm 5'1" kind of made me have to rethink that thought. That's a kind of a bit of a limitation about what I wanted to do. Back in those days, you had to be 6 foot. These days, of course, things are a bit different. And right now, I've got an injury to my collarbone. We can't quite find out what that is, both emotionally and physically, what's causing it. So I can't do certain exercises at the moment. So yes, there's certain limitations in life. But what happens if the limitations we have about what we can do and who we are based on actual self-imposed, whether that's beliefs about age, whether that's belief about timing, which is often a big one, or whether that's a belief about ability, what we're actually able to do. So what we want to do today in the short time that we've got is I want to try and get to the limitations. And when I feel perceived, and what if that limitation wasn't real? Our subconscious holds such strong memories about our past. And especially the amygdala, part of the emotional center of the brain, doesn't know what's real and what's perceived. And that happens from the people, the words, events of our past. If you were told something as a child over and over again about not having the capabilities, who do you think you are, what makes you think you're so special, who'd listen to you, if you have all that running deep inside the subconscious part of your brain, even though you're now an adult, your amygdala, the emotional center of your brain, doesn't know the difference. And so it can actually be driving you. So I'm going to be sharing with you 10 strategies at the end to help you overcome any self-imposed limitations. But I just want you to think of something that you really want to achieve right now, a goal, an intention. Perhaps somebody else is achieving something at the moment, and you'd really like to do it, but you just can't seem to find how to do it. And perhaps you're in direct sales and there are other people seem to be just nailing it at the moment, but there's something holding you back. When you look at that, you can make assumptions about why they're able to do it. But really and honestly, you've got to kind of figure out, is this actual self-imposed or is this a true limitation? Can you prove it? Can you prove that limitation? Now, for instance, right now, for me, if I go to do a certain exercise, it hurts. I can prove it. That there's an injury there that actually hurts. And even I've tried working my way through it, doesn't work at the moment. So I have a great chiropractor and she's just said at the moment, just don't do that. That's a limitation that's holding me back. I've had to create new ways of come up with different exercises that I can do, and that's fine, but the actual one I want to do. So that's I can prove it. That actually hurts when I want to do a push-up in the morning. So I want you to remember when we thought back, or when we did that Facebook Live, a fair few months ago now, can't be a fair few months ago, maybe a fair few weeks ago, we did it on purpose. What's your purpose? When you were a child, what were you told about the dreams that you had? So if you wanted to do something when you were a child, what were you told about that? And I'll share my story, and you may have one similar. When I was, my purpose has always been, when we did that little exercise, I had done that for myself a few years ago, but it was for me, it was teaching and entertaining. I loved entertaining, but I loved to teach. But in year 12, I didn't do very well in school. It was very boring for me. Figured out many, many years later, actually doing a course with Robert Kiyosaki, that I was actually a kinesthetic learner. I have very few visual skills. When I'm reading something, I actually have to think about what does that feel like? Create images around it in order for me to understand it. I create an image in my head and then kind of play it out in my head. But when I was at school, of course, back in those days, we didn't know visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners. We had no idea what they were. So I didn't do very well in school. I went to an all-girls Catholic ladies' college, and the nuns wore black and white, and you only saw that part of their face. They had the whole thing. Very, not for me. So when I got to year 12, I wanted to be a teacher. And my careers guidance counselor said to me, you're not smart enough. You're not smart enough to be a teacher. Your scores aren't showing you'll ever get into teachers college. And I remember that day. It's one of those moments, when you remember when you're a kid? It's one of those moments I remember. And I remember thinking, well, what does that mean? What do I do now? Interesting enough, when I got into the fitness industry and went on, I was teaching 4 aerobic classes a week and, ran had a TV show and taught in front of 2,500 people at a big event. Funny that. I can teach. I just couldn't teach in that model. I'm not understanding that modality. However, what went in for me in my mind was I'm not a good teacher. And so my purpose, which was to teach and to entertain, was just totally obliterated. And I actually went off into the wilderness. My mother said, you need to learn how to do typing, and because you need to do, all that stuff, which was great now because I can touch type pretty good. But that wasn't the career for me. That wasn't what was in it. It's interesting, isn't it? Because these days we would encourage you to find out what's going on if somebody really wanted to do something. So what were you told about your purpose, about what you love to do? What were you told? And how did that impact on your life? Because that, for me, was a self-imposed limitation. I believed from what somebody told me that I was not a good teacher and I wasn't smart. Not a good teacher and I wasn't smart. Those were the words that went in when I was 16 years old. And so, you know, every time I wanted to do something, that's the memory that often surfaced. And I had to overcome that because it was a self-imposed limitation. That was her thoughts and her beliefs based on what she knew at the time. So let's go into what I want to do today. I want to look at some 10 strategies. And if you've got a pen and paper with you, I want you to write these down because you might be able to, in this coming week, really look at where am I creating self-imposed limitations, because they can be an excuse too. If you've read the book, and I highly recommend this book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and he talks all the time about our upper limit problems. When we think, you know, we want to add the extra zero to our income. We want to do something more. Good morning, Janet. Lovely to see you here. I hope that foot's getting better, by the way, Janet. Whenever you're doing that, he talks about we create excuses. So we'll create an excuse and call it a limitation. So our limitations can make us feel quite comfortable. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. All right, let's look at the 10 strategies, okay, to help you overcome and identify self-imposed limitations. So number one is to mind your words. What are the words you tell yourself really? What is it that you tell yourself about what's possible? The minute you want to go up a level in income, what are you telling yourself? No one will pay that. Who do I think I am? What makes me think I'm so special? Which is one I keep going back to all the time. Tap, tap, tap. We're going to do a tapping session after this, by the way. What makes you think you're so special? What right do you have? And remember, that was a thing that I was told as a child. What right do you have? Number two, play up. Okay, play up. So with the minute that you set an intention to play up, you actually have to physically, emotionally, spiritually play up to that. So there's a thing called an aspirational brand, and I'm working with great branding people at the moment. My girlfriend Finn, who's on the call today, is just well, they're amazing. You know, what's your aspirational brand, and can you aspire to it? Because the minute you set the benchmark higher for yourself and your branding, and that's personal branding too, okay, not just business branding, you have to play up to it. You have to elevate your game and your message. And so as you elevate that up, what's your limiting beliefs coming up for you? So play up. What is, you know, how can you best describe yourself? How would you like your life to be? Can you play that up in your brand? Set the bar higher for your own goals, and I prefer to call them intentions, but goals. I'm grinning. Thank you, Finn. You're making me step up, let me tell you. You know, you've heard the quote, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, yes, preach, sister, I know. Even if you miss, you land among the stars. You know, watching these Commonwealth Games athletes here, you know what, it doesn't matter if they're not winning gold. They are aiming for their personal best all the time, because the minute they aim for their personal best, they're playing amongst the big people. You know, when you see these athletes from small African countries, and they're mixing in with people from Australia and Canada and UK, which puts a lot of money into their sport, that can't help but elevate them, because they will go home from this knowing what the bar is set for them. So they're shooting for the moon. They're still landing among the stars. They're not getting gold, but man, they are setting personal bests. So where can you do that in your life? So if your job involves sales, for instance, if you're setting higher and higher targets, because, you may not reach that target, but the momentum you build is going to elevate where you're at, and you can't go backwards. That's the whole point. Once you begin to set these higher targets, these higher intentions, you're never comfortable with going up. You've got to push through that personal boundaries, those personal limitations that you've got. Number 4, do something outside business to put yourself out in your comfort zone. Enroll in a new class. Learn a new language. Register for a fun run. Janet, I wouldn't suggest that for you right now with your broken foot, but you know what I mean? Like, how can you set that bench higher? Do a Facebook Live. If you've never done one before, do one, or do something you think you can. Even if it's, start doing live videos, if that's in your business. Start hanging around with people who are making way more money than you. Start to elevate and start pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I've got a friend of mine. They've retired, and before they retired, she started doing these just small fun runs. 5K. Wow, she's now registering for all these fun runs all over the country. Her husband now is doing triathlons. They're traveling all over the place. They're doing treks. It's amazing what she's doing. And she just started off by just getting involved in fun runs to begin with. Number 5, make mistakes earlier. Be prepared to make mistakes and live in the world of imperfect action. Do you know there's nothing worse than holding yourself back until things are perfect? And a business coach of mine once dubbed me the queen of imperfect action. I get an idea and I'll just do it and learn along the way. Yes, I'm going to make some mistakes, but that's okay, because that's how I'm going to learn. So make them earlier. Number 6, don't overthink things. It's the great paralyzer when we start to overthink. You go, okay, I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do. And then you start thinking, oh, but what if? And then what? And what if they say no? And then what are they going to think about me? Oh, wait a minute, I've got to have my ducks in a row. So you begin to overthink, and that just paralyzes you. You're flooding that system full of cortisol, you're starting to get stressed, and you're just paralyzed. You go into the freeze response. Just let me know if any of these are resonating with you, and if you can sense in all of this, if, you can perhaps put some of these into practice, and how you'll do that. Where are I? Number 6. Number 7, meditation and visualization. You can't go past visualization for setting the bar high. My visualization, my vision board sits right in front of my computer, and I'm at my computer probably 4 or 5 hours a day. So 4 or 5 hours a day, that vision board is right in front of me, and I've actually got words on the vision board across all the images of what I want to do. So when I'm sitting down there, I write my intentions out every morning in my journaling, and I'm sitting every day looking at that visualization vision board. And so in my meditation, those are the visions that I'm creating. So I'm constantly setting the bar high for myself to where I'm going to go, and the vision is strong. Next one is to let go of the need for validation. How many of us are looking to be validated in what we do, waiting for people to tell us that we're good at what we do, waiting for that need for somebody to tell us you've done a good job. I know when I was working in my corporate job, I can see where much of what I've done. We've done a Facebook Live on the imposter syndrome, and one of that for me was the superwoman and the need for validation. The more I do, the more I'll be validated. The more I think I'm a great person. So look at where you need to let go of the need for validation in order to overcome those self-imposed limitations. So where are you needing the need for validation? Number 9 is to tap whenever you feel the fear. This is where tapping really works well in helping you identify that self-imposed limitations. That's where it works. And we're going to do a tapping, what are we at, 10 before the hour. It's almost sound like a BBC commentator. We're at 10 before the hour. I want to be able to finish right on time. I want to make sure your time, because I know you want to get out and enjoy the weather, and I know my friends in the UK, it's not time for bed for you. And number 10, just do it. I saw a great post the other day that said, just freaking do it. You know, it's about letting go of the fear. It's about having a plan of action. It's about not overthinking things. It's about just doing it. So can you just let me know if you guys are here still? There's some funny things happening with Be Live today. And if you just let me know that you are still here, that would be wonderful. My friend and the Facebook queen, I don't know if you saw this, Finn, Mari Smith today did a Be Live TV today and didn't turn it off and kept on going while she was doing another podcast. And then her partner, Christopher, came in. Oh, good, great. Thank you, Finn. Her partner, Christopher, came in, and you could see this image of her saying, what are you doing? And he's trying to say, you're still on. I just want to make sure Be Live is working okay for me. All right. So let me go over. I'm going to go all 10 points on paper. Yay. Terrific, Helen. Thank you. Yeah, I heard Finn. It's really quite funny. It's really quite I watched a little bit of it. She was really buzzing. Karen, terrific. Glad you're still here. Terrific. All right, let me just quickly go over those 10 points again. 1, mind your words, what we say to ourselves. Be very careful about what you're saying to yourself, about what you can and cannot do. Number 2, play up. But up, I mean. Not playing up. What's your personal aspirational brand? Where do you see yourself? What do you want people to see you as and aspire to it? 2, 3, set the bar higher. Shoot for the moon. Even if you miss land among the stars, think about those African, the Africans who were swimming, and they don't have, they haven't got that funding behind them, but they're swimming their hearts out and shoot for the moon. You're going to land among the stars. Number 4, do something to push yourself out of your comfort zone. What are you doing right now? Even personally, that is not pushing you out of your comfort zone. Register for something, do a Facebook Live, do a video. Number 5, make mistakes earlier. Be prepared to make mistakes. Nothing has to be perfect. Number 6, don't overthink things. Great paralyzer of all good things is overthinking them. Number 8, meditate and visualize. Get that vision board in your mind. Where do you want to head? What do you want to do? The minute you feel it, meditate on it. Let go of the need for validation. Let go of the need for validation, of course. Tapping, which we're going to do right now. And just do it. Just do it. What the heck? One life. Let's go. Let's just do it. Alrighty. So we're going to finish off with a tapping session. I hope some of these points have been worthy for you today. We're going to finish off with a tapping session. Remember, if you want to have a chat to me about how I can help you coaching, send me a PM on Facebook today, and I can share some details with you. Alrighty. Let's tap. So we're going to tap today on self-imposed limitations. I want you to think of something right now that you know is a self-imposed limitation. Just like with number 6. Yes, overthinking things. No. And there's kind of that gap, isn't there, with overthinking and just jumping and going, whoops. My big thing is sticking to the knitting. There's so many good ideas. Anyway, that's something for a whole another Facebook Live, isn't it, really? Okay, let's do some tapping. Yay! Oh, hey! Is it Jill or Gil? Gillian? Interesting. Wait. Hey! Lovely to see you here. If you're here. Okay, cool. Alrighty. Shall we do a tapping session? All right. I want you to think of something that's Jill, J-I-L. Okay, cool. Jill, lovely to have you here. Right. I dislike pronouncing people's names incorrectly. With a name like Thibaut, That's the way it is. Having to people mispronounce my name. All righty, let's go. What do you think? Something in your life at the moment you know is a self-imposed limitation. I want you again to tune to the tapping, but aware of your thoughts, because we're just going to do a generalized tapping. So measure on a scale of 1 to 10 how strong you think this is a self-imposed limitation. This thing that you have right now. And where is it? I want you to be mindful of the thoughts that come through. All right, here we go. Even though I recognize this is a self-imposed limitation, and I'm open to understanding where it came from, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Even though I know this is a self-imposed limitation, and I'm open and ready to change this, I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. One more time. Even though this thing I want to do, I know I have a self-imposed limitation, I'm ready to release whatever it is that holds me back. I'm asking my subconscious to help me on this. I deeply and completely accept myself and how I feel. Okay, here we go. This self-imposed limitation, I do it all the time. My self-imposed limitation, I have a feeling where it came from. My self-imposed limitation, what do I need to do to release this? My self-imposed limitation, been there such a long time. What would it mean for me to let this go? What belief do I have to release? What memory do I have to change? Oh, I've frozen, I can see. There we go. This self-imposed limitation, I'm ready to release it. I'm asking my subconscious to allow me to remember where this started. And I choose to tap on this whenever I remember it. I choose to release this self-imposed limitation. Okay, just take a deep breath and let it go. I want you just for a moment, though, to just create the vision of what your life would be like if you let this go. If you could heal this self-imposed limitation, what would your life look like? And I want you just to feel what it would feel like. What difference would it make in your life? Who would it impact? What would it mean to you? And just take a deep breath and let it go. Okay, so this week is now focusing on what will happen now is you'll start to think, jeepers, that was a self-imposed limitation, because you that's where put that little message in your subconscious. But it requires the work this week. Okay, so those tapping things that we do are general. In tapping, you've got to get to the core issue. See if you can reduce the amount of intensity around that and let that go. So it just requires you to be very mindful of this week. Tap whenever you feel it coming up, and then those strategies, go back to those, because that's what you need to do. It's just this. The tapping we do here is just to kind of open your mind to it. And as I said, if you want to have a chat with me, see if I can help you this week, just send me a PM and I can send you some details. All righty, we are right on 8 o'clock. And so I want to wish you a beautiful weekend coming up. And wherever you are, I hope that this you have some time to enjoy time with your family. Okay. Finn, is that a car? After my evoking. What is that a car? I don't know what that is. We speak different languages, you know, us Australians and you Scottish people. I'm going to have to find some Scottish people today, actually, Finn. I'll see if I can get some photos of them when we go we're actually going in tomorrow for the closing ceremonies. We're going to the closing ceremonies, but we're going to go and experience a Range Rover. Ooh, nice. Nice. Okay, I look forward to seeing those photos. All righty, my friends, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. A good night's sleep for those in England, for those in the US. I know you've still got a few hours to go. And, of course, for those in Australia, enjoy the rest of your day. And we shall see you next Saturday morning, 7:30 a.m. for another Isn't It Time Facebook Live. Till then... Oh, okay. We have that car here too. Sheltered life. I know. Very sheltered. I just get in it. Push the button. Oh, we've got one of those cars now. You push the button. Oh, that's great, Janet. Thank you. Reminders and lessons brought to me again. Thank you. We have that car here too. I'm going to go find that. I'll probably see it all over the road now. All right, my friends. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we will see you next week on this Isn't It Time Facebook Live. Bye for now.